Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you like the content, hit the subscribe button, leave a like down below. I want to talk about the next DLC for WWE 2K24, the Pat McAfee Pack. We just got the Post Malone and Friends pack. I think Honky Tonk Man and Jimmy Hart were probably the best two in that pack. No clouds or bad stuff about Headbangers or Sensational Sherry. Heck, even Post Malone. I just liked Honky Tonk Man and Jimmy Hart. Been a big fan of Honky Tonk Man for a long time now. I always liked the 80s like overly gimmicky stuff where they were actually a character. Like nowadays wrestlers, they all feel very samey to me. Every once in a while we'll get like a Bray Wyatt or a Fiend or something that transcends wrestling. And those are the things I like in wrestling. I like the larger than life things because wrestling, it's not a sport. It's entertainment. Anyway, so let's talk about this next DLC pack and how it's probably the most important pack, even though personally I think the pack is terrible. So let's get into this. So how can it be the most important pack? Well, if you look at the history of wrestling and the reason why Vince was able to make WWE, WWF at the time, such a global sensation, is instead of just keeping it in the confines, and I've talked about this before, and everybody should know this by now, but I just want to point out why this pack is probably the most important pack for this game. Anyway, and how it correlates to WrestleMania and Vince McMahon. So WrestleMania, what does every WrestleMania do to try to bring in more fans, more eyeballs to wrestling or WWE in general? So early on, the very first WrestleMania and second WrestleMania, Vince went outside of wrestling, went to other things to try to get those fans to become wrestling fans. For instance, in WrestleMania 1, we had Hulk Hogan team up with Mr. T to fight off Rowdy Piper and Paul Orndorff. That is huge. And then they did another one for WrestleMania 2 where Rowdy Piper boxed Mr. T. This type of stuff is what brings in fans from other fandom to wrestling and potentially could make them a wrestling fan. That's why WrestleMania is so important, and that's why this character pack is so important. I have a list here of maybe not every celebrity, but a lot of celebrities that showed up for WrestleMania that brought in fans from other things to make them wrestling fans. That's part of the reason, in my opinion, and I'm pretty sure it's a fact, is why WWE is a global company. Because instead of just staying in their little niche of wrestling, they're actually bringing in trying to bring in new fans all the time from something different, like music, boxing, UFC, you name it. They've probably brought someone in to try to expand their audience, and it absolutely worked. That is the formula of what's made WWE such a huge success and a billion-dollar company. All right, so I'm just going to read the names down here. They have them in a weird order. I was hoping it would be by Mania. No, it's not even by alphabetical. It's literally just random. And this is on Wikipedia. I'll leave a link in the description below. So in WrestleMania, I want to say 6, we had Steve Allen. We had Pamela Anderson. I'm not going to just go through. It's all too random. I'm just going to read the names. We had Pamela Anderson show up. So there you get all the Baywatch fandoms. You get all the little pervs back then trying to check out wrestling because, oh, Pamela Anderson's going to be there. We got to check this out. Let's see here. We got Robert Conrad. We got Kathy Lee Crosby, Jenny Garth, Susan St. James, Colin Joss, Marla Maples, Jenny McCarthy, who is now on The Masked Singer, Megastar. She was in WrestleMania. She was an escort for, it was either Shawn Michaels or Vin Diesel. I didn't see that, but I'm aware of it. Johnny Knoxville, you're bringing all the Jackass fans. Why wouldn't Jackass fans be wrestling fans already? Because guys beating up each other, but Jackass is a little more hardcore because they actually really, really hurt each other. But yeah, you're bringing in Johnny Knoxville's and the huge Jackass fandom to come watch wrestling because Johnny Knoxville's there. It's genius. It's a proven formula. Cassandra Peterson as Elvira. So we had Elvira what was that? WrestleMania 2. Then we had Regis Philbin. Holy crap, I forgot he was there. Freddie Prinze Jr., Raven Simone, Paul Rubens as Pee Wee Herman. We had frickin' Pee Wee Herman. Burt Reynolds, Joan Rivers, Mickey Rourke, Rick Schroeder, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Now, Arnold Schwarzenegger was the biggest action star in the 80s and the early 90s. Having Arnold show up at a WrestleMania to do anything is incredible. Like, think about that. All his giant fandom, because like I said, he was the biggest action star there was, are all going to come watch wrestling because like, oh crap, Arnold's going to be there? Boom, you just created new wrestling fans if they liked what they saw. So this is the whole point of the Pat McAfee pack. This is what I'm guessing they're trying to do. They're trying to get the Pat McAfee fandom, because it's not just wrestling fans, it's sports fans and all sorts of crap. And they're trying to bring them all into the 2K game to buy it. Because like, oh cool, you can play as Pat and his crew? Heck yeah, I'll go check that out. I think that's what they're banking on, because there's no other explanation that makes sense to me to replace wrestlers with the Pat McAfee show guys who've never wrestled in their life, except for, of course, Pat McAfee. Now, if these guys were just in it normally and they weren't extra paid DLC, I probably wouldn't care. I'm like, okay, whatever, they're in the game. But the fact that they're taking up an entire DLC pack kind of annoys me. But I understand the importance of why they're doing it. To try to bring in new fans to the game franchise. I mean, if they bring in, I don't know, 1,000, 2,000 people, that's extra income for the next game. So if these games come out every year, I doubt the Pat McAfee people will be in there, but who knows? Maybe they like the game. Maybe like, wow, this game's awesome. You can make all these characters. The game looks amazing. I mean, there's so much you can do in these wrestling games that you might make a lifelong fan. Who knows? Anyway, I'll go down the list here a little bit further. Rhonda Shear, Mr. T, like we discussed, Jonathan Taylor Thomas, Nicholas Turturro, Mark Wahlberg, and that's just the celebrities. Now we're going on to the athletes, and again, this is Wikipedia, so I might be missing some. Celebrity Muhammad Ali was at WrestleMania 1. So if you were a boxing fan and you were a huge Muhammad Ali fan and you found out Muhammad Ali was going to have an appearance at WrestleMania, you're like, ooh, what's Muhammad Ali doing? You were going to go check it out, even if you weren't a wrestling fan or even heard of it, and you probably become a lifelong wrestling fan. I mean, this is a proven formula, and it works to this day because they still bring in celebrities. Technically, The Rock he was a wrestler, but I think he's more known for his Hollywood work now than he is his wrestling, because it's been so long since he used to wrestle. Obviously, us wrestling fans have been around for a while. We know The Rock from wrestling, but now you're bringing in all of the fans of The Rock's Hollywood work, his acting career, if you will, to come watch the latest WrestleMania, see him beat up Cody Rhodes, right? It's awesome. It's like I said, it's a proven formula that has worked since the first WrestleMania, and I think the games are going to start doing this. So next year, we're probably going to get another pack like this. So be warned, they're probably going to use up a pack to do this every single year. Now, before we end the video, I'm going to go through the celebrity athletes, and then we'll say my piece and be over with. Muhammad Ali, Carl Banks, Jim Cornette, Daryl Dawkins, Lou Duva, Eric Eschk, Bill Fralick, Russ Francis, Joe Frazier, heck yeah, Joe Frazier, Rob Gronkowski. I think he was going to become a wrestler from the Patriots here, but the pandemic happened. So I think it just went out the window, because I feel like he would have been a good wrestler. Kind of like, I don't think he'd be as good as Logan Paul, but I think he had the charisma for it. He was awesome like that. Ernie Holmes, Ricky Jackson, Lane Johnson, Ed Jones, Jason Kelch, Tommy Lasorda, Paul McGuire, Billy Martin, Harvey Martin, Floyd Mayweather. I remember that. I saw that where he fought Big Show, and Big Show took a dive for him. I don't think he could knock out Big Show. Maybe. Steve Mitchell, Ken Norton Jr., Shaquille O'Neal, big fan of Shaq, Vinny Pazzinia, William Perry, Kevin Rooney, Pete Rose, freaking Pete Rose was there, Chris Spielman, Lawrence Taylor, Mike Tyson. Now, Mike Tyson, that was a huge collaboration with him and WWE. I believe he went to WCW also. But just working with the biggest guy in the company at the time, Stone Cold, being part of DX, all that whole thing. That whole thing was crazy. Let's see, Bob Uckler, Chuck Wepner, Reggie White, Larry Young, George Kittle. And now we're down to musicians. Jimmy Allen, Ashanti, Loa Black, Bad Bunny, Travis Baker, Fantasia Barrino, Boys Choir of Harlem, Boys to Men, Cab Calloway, Ray Charles, Sheen Diddy Combs, Alice Cooper, Ash Costello, Ashlyn Kraft, Mark Crozer, Jesse James Decker, Drowning Pool, the DX Band, Fifth Harmony, Flo Rida, Aretha Franklin, Becky G, Bentley Gilbert, Robert Goulet, I believe that's how you say it, Skylar Gray, David Guetta, Carrie Hilson, Ice-T, Joan Jett, the Blackhearts, Coco Jones, Kid Ink, Meek Mill, Kid Rock, Gladys Knight, Lil Wayne, LL Cool J, Cindy frickin' Lauper, John Legend, Liberace, I can't read, Little Uzi Vert, Limp Bizkit was a huge part of The Undertaker's badass gimmick. It was, his theme song and everything. He rode my motorcycle down to the ring. Little Richard, Living Color, Lunch Money Lewis, Machine Gun Kelly, Reba McEntire, Motionless in White, Motorhead, may he rest in peace. That was a bummer when he passed away. Willie Nelson, Ozzy Osbourne, Pitbull, Pod. Man, there's a lot of musicians. Bebe Rexha, Rev Theory, Run DMC, Saliva. Saliva was huge. I forget what the actual exact time frame, but they were pretty dang influential for a lot of the theme songs. I think it was on the Forcible Entry soundtrack, which is one of my favorites. And it sucks we can't use all that in the games every year, because they have to license it out. Salt and Peppa, Nicole Schreiner. Oh, yeah. Snoop Dogg. Heck yeah. Snoop Dogg, Donnie Wahlberg, Lil Wayne, Whale, The War and Treaty, Michelle Williams, and then other celebrities. I mean, this list just goes on and on and on. But anyway, my whole point of this video is that this pack is probably the most important pack because it's planning on bringing in new fans to the game, to the franchise of just the game, let alone wrestling in general. So anyway, how mad are you about this pack? I think it should be wrestlers, but I understand its importance and what they're trying to do. As always, thank you for watching, and stay frosty.